Hi, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have a Galaxy M55 5G boxing. Let's get started. This device has been on the market for a little while now, so I'm a little late, admittedly. But that also means that its price will be more attractive. At the time it was launched at a price of 7,999 pesos. On the screen you see the reference price in dollars, although it is currently priced at 6,999. So it could become an interesting alternative for those who are looking for a Galaxy. Generally, the Galaxy M series is cheaper than the Galaxy A series, with some small differences, but for some users they might be minor differences. So let's take this device out of its box, which by the way, it seems that in this case it would indeed have charger, but let's find out. And the first thing we come across is the mobile device. Let's check what are the specifications that the manufacturer wants to highlight. We find, for example, Super AMOLED Plus screen. Obviously it is going to offer us a very good color, good contrast and other things. In this case they also highlight that it has 3 cameras, the main one of 50 megapixels with optical stabilization and then 5000 mAh battery. The truth is that none of the features seem to be very unique to this device. Many other devices will have similar features. And here we get right into the cell phone. It's gonna have a pretty slim design. I think that's something that's going to stand out because usually the Galaxy M series devices had a much less thoughtful design. But in this case, yeah, it feels lightweight. It looks slim as well. And considering it's got 5000 milliamp battery, I think that could come off as a standout. Let's put it on power and see what else comes in the box. Let's see, here we come across the cable, which is from USB-C to USB-C. But it looks like nothing else will be coming, so we've been fooled by this thick box. Unlike other Galaxy devices that come with thin boxes where it's obvious that the charger doesn't come. But in this case it looked like it was going to include charger. And in reality this box does not contain anything else, it only came with the cable using a lot of space. It seems that they were recycling the thick boxes they had left or something similar because the charger is not included. But let's see what else is there, because still remember that on the top lid there is one more envelope. But well, this envelope looks like it's going to come a little empty. It comes with the tool to remove the SIM card tray, and then we'll only find paper slips of all life. So it doesn't come with a case, it doesn't come with a charger, let alone a headset. It's a pretty simple box. But let's put this box away and focus a little bit more on the cell phone. I've already got the device set up here, so let's take a look at its main specs. It weighs a few grams and is 7.8 millimeters thick. As I was anticipating, I think the design is well stylized because of how thin and light it can be, although it has a plastic back cover. But in this case, it's a plastic that comes with a finish that, as you can see, reflects light in different ways. So it doesn't look so plain in this regard. The screen is 6.7 inches in its diagonal. It offers us full HD Plus resolution, Super AMOLED Plus technology and 120 Hz in its refresh rate. That is, we are in front of a good quality screen without a doubt. Although not the top of Samsung, which still has the dynamic AMOLED 2X. But it is still a very good screen. It also incorporates stereo sound with a speaker below and another in the earpiece area for calls. Remember that not all devices output multimedia sound through the earpiece for calls, so consider that, please. In this case, we will have this stereo sound experience. The front camera is 50 megapixels with f2.4 aperture. Here I have a preview before taking the picture and note that it looks completely burned out in the background. But after processing the photograph, I think it does a good balance of highlights and shadows. It's not spectacular, but it manages to stand up well. In this case, using auto mode, it takes 12 megapixel pictures. Although you can select the 50 megapixel photo option to try to take advantage of all the information on the sensor. And note that you do get to have a fairly high level of detail in these types of photographs. It's not something that I consider very useful or necessary, but definitely that on the front camera does get to stand out for its high resolution. On the back, we will find the 50 megapixel main camera with f1.8 aperture and also optical stabilization. Subsequently, we will find the 8 megapixel ultra-wide camera with f2.2 aperture and fixed focus. And finally, the 2 megapixel macro camera with f2.4 aperture and also fixed focus. Here I have a 50 megapixel photograph so we can see if it really has a high level of detail or not. And yes, we are going to find good detail. Maybe the photograph looks slightly greenish to me, but well, the full analysis of the photograph we will have in the review. For now, the first glance is that it does get to take advantage of the 50 megapixels in special mode. The ultra-wide camera I also consider to have a slightly greenish color perception. The main camera is much more accurate in color, and later I applied 2x zoom where you still get to appreciate good quality. Subsequently zoom 4x and it still has good quality, and the maximum you get is 10x. And it also has a good quality. I don't think it's an exaggeratedly good zoom, but for the price it's currently priced at, I think it's also a good photo quality. And even though it doesn't have a depth camera, I think it does make for good portraits. At least in terms of foreground detection, note that it does keep the subject in focus and blur the entire background. Although the colors don't seem to me to have been very accurate. But remember, the more detailed and complete analysis of the photography of this device we will have in the review. This is as close as you can get to small objects by zooming in 2x's, and the macro camera does allow you to get closer. You can even get to gain a little more detail, although it doesn't have as much dynamic range, but it doesn't seem to be that bad of a macro camera. One positive thing is that you're going to be able to record video in 4K at 30 frames per second, both with the main camera and the front camera. The battery is 5000 milliamps and supports 25 watt charging, but the charger is not included in the box. Definitely the fact that the charger does not come in the box can be a very big disadvantage. Fortunately, the battery has the same capacity that you can find in virtually all devices today. This device comes with Android 14 and One UI 6.1. In addition, it will have several updates available. In fact, it notes that right now the device is already receiving a new update. So for the review, let's make sure it has the most recent version of the software. It has 128 gigabytes of internal storage and just powered on. It was showing 19% in use. Remember that Samsung is one of the manufacturers that tends to have more internal storage used because their operating system has a lot of options. We will also find 8 gigabytes of RAM, although just like the storage, without you having a lot of things open, it already has plenty of RAM consumed, but it also has RAM Plus of another 4 gigabytes by default, or you can bump it up to another 8. But honestly, I haven't found the RAM Plus to be useful on Samsung, at least in the tests I've done. I don't think it's a determining factor. And finally, the processor is the Snapdragon 7 Gen 1. That if you're more of a benchmark guy, here's the Geekbench result. In multi-core it gave us 2406 points, and in single core 1006 points. And in Antutu it got up to 569,283 points. So it is a processor that for the price range in which it competes is quite good, considering that in this same price range there are some who still dare to put the Snapdragon 680. But remember that this device is distributed online, and so it may come at a price a little tighter. For now, this has been all for this first look at the Galaxy M55. But remember that we will have the full review available soon. I hope you liked this video. See you next time.